So, okay, and then, so this is 11 minus 9. Put that together, so just write them next to each other. Distribute, negative 36 is what this is equal to. Cancels, and then, oh, I just have a 6i. 3i times 6i is 18i squared, which I squared is negative 1, so it's negative 18. You get a 0. And then you're supposed to pull this out of your brain. If this has real coefficients and 3i is a 0, then its conjugate must be a 0. And this is going to come out of your brain and then on the paper. Right? So you're supposed to be able to figure that out. And then this one's real easy. Nice. Negative 3i, 4. Nice. 2. And then certainly nice that had to happen because of, the rules, I guess. And then what I didn't finish with, here's the third time you see the quadratic formula in this set of notes. You double depress this polynomial from a fourth to a third to a squared, and then squareds can always be found through the quadratic formula, the zeros. And then last but not least, they did ask write a factorization of this. So here are the zeros. Here are the factors from those zeros. Should not be rocket science, making that, that next move, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. Okay, now's the time to get real. All right, this is my 7th hour. You're going to get your quizzes back today. They are rough. All right, I'm just going to be honest in this period. Not everyone's, but a mass majority, it's not too good. And the reason I'm bringing this up is, some people left it completely blank to written, and I can't even fathom why that is when the second question is just finding an equation of a line, which is a Algebra 1 freshman question, in addition to the fact that we actually did that in chapter PR. And then the one before that is a quadratic, and you just had to know what the quadratic vertex form of an equation is. But then all the way back to the last one was just a FOIL. It's just like this. This is why I'm talking about this right now. And I would say, honestly, 10% of us got that one right. So some people made a minor mistake, and that's okay. Yes? Do you want to right now? You sure? Okay. All right, I would appreciate that. That would be good. And then, don't listen to all those things I said then. Well, I didn't really tell you how to do it. So. Okay, all right, I give you can already that. Can you do it right here? Is that all right?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, thanks. Do appreciate that as well, because, sometimes it's hard with me blabbering. But anyway, back to this. So some people made a minor mistake, and that's okay. But some people leaving it blank. How do we leave this blank? When this is, just really a rudimentary skill from, again, freshman year, just the ability to FOIL. So all I'm going to say is this: just keep working on it and try to be positive about it. But the grade is the grade, and it's earned, whether it's good or bad. All right. As a CAP teacher, though, I'm a little worried about where this is going to go, and I just hope it gets better. That's all I can say, and that's all that we can do. And again, you'll get it back, so just you'll see how we did, and so on and so forth. And this grade or this test, I just want you to really know, is reduced from last year. We took a lot of questions out, made it smaller, less in there, and the grades are lower. So there's some changes that are going to have to be made on your end in order to make this happen and go. There is damage control, and some of us are going to need it, unfortunately. The damage control this year is if you get less than a 50%, I still have to put a 50% in. And I kind of do agree with the rule. Like if you got like a 10 out of 45, boy, that's a really damaging grade and hard to come back from. Well, I'll have to make that a 22 and a half out of 45 because that's 50%. And then that at least is helpful. And that's all I can say. There really is no excuse for leaving a blank written part. All right. And like I say, the grade is earned, and we're going to have to keep going and keep working harder, I guess. It's back to that written work and doing the right thing during that stuff. All right, now to the teaching component. We had a similar situation on that written test. She shouldn't watch this, but that's fine. Remember the zeros were root 6 and negative root 6? Do you remember that? And then you turned them into factors. This is what you want to FOIL first. You don't want to take x plus 2 times x minus root 3i first. That would create a big, ugly scenario with radicals and I numbers and nothing cancels. And then I don't understand why we're not FOILing good. Because because all you got to do is do the lines. This is all you got to do, and then keep things in order. Just draw the lines, or if you don't want to call it FOIL, fine, call it distribution. Couldn't care less what you call it. I just want to see success here. All right, negative, what's root 3 times root 3? What's root 3 times root 3? Oh, I can't hear anyone. 3. What's I times I, or I squared? What does I squared become? -1. So actually these cancel in a way. And then root 3 times root 3 is 3. Freedom from that radical. And then you'll see that this actually turns out to be just a binomial because those middle terms fall out. That's why you want to multiply the yellow first. And then all you got to do is draw these lines and do another FOIL. I'm going to do a FIOL though. I'm going to do the inner next because I want this in standard form. FIOL instead of FOIL. Inner, then outer. Is my computer in the way? I'll back off into the corner. And then that's it. Oh, and then by the way, on the calendar, go ahead and write that down. I know my brain like just jumps all over the place. Boom, boom, boom. Oh, we had the calendar out trying to find what the heck we're doing here. But I was easy. Did anyone do this? Did anyone do this assignment Thursday or Friday? Good. You're gonna do it again. I'll get the check if you did it right though. We're gonna do a little thing with it today. But that's it. I just brought this up because the other math teachers, I think, are shoving other things at their students, like do this assignment as well. And I'm like, you know what? We got everything we need, I think, in this worksheet. It's kind of simplified and short and just to the brass tacks of what we're going to need to do. And I think I'm good with it. Did anyone see that Ed puzzle thrown out there? All right. That's for next week. But if you wanted to hit it this weekend, got nothing better to do, fine. I found it interesting. I went back in my old videos and I found a video from last year. And the reason I wanted to use it is I sound so different, I think, and the class is different because it's pre-COVID. It's really weird. And so Ed puzzled that video from last year. And we did a little game with the notes during that. So hopefully you enjoy that. And I got really aggressive with the questions and some notes that I put in the video. So it should be very informative. It's a 20-minute video, but with the questions, it's probably going to take a little longer. So, all right. Now look at this. Real coefficients. So yeah, I was just trying to say, the worksheet I'm going to give you today, that's it. That's your responsibility for these last 2 days. All right, so we got to turn zeros into factors. Then I got a real problem with what I just circled there. Oh, no. I got to have a polynomial with real coefficients. I can see if I'm going to FOIL these two, I'm going to have imaginary coefficients. I'm going to have an I number. All right, that's the whole point of the complex conjugate theorem. If 2i is a 0 and the polynomial has real coefficients we're talking about, then its conjugate must be a 0. So you must pull this out of your brain. Here's you saying, I love math. All right, that's got to also be a 0 for the coefficients to be real at the end. And then I have this extra factor, x minus a negative 2i. And then same old as the last one. You'd be silly to multiply the first two together. You multiply the conjugate factors, and then you'll see, and I would hope you wouldn't even have to write this down eventually. Wouldn't I even have to write that down because that's what happens with these conjugate factors. They cancel. Oop, didn't finish that x there. And then negative 2i times positive 2i is negative 4. Oop, I'm going to write it up here. What's negative 4i squared become, everybody? 4. So it's a nice real number. Now we see that we have all real numbers from this scenario. All right, and then it's the same as the last one. We're going to go ahead and FOIL. We're going to FIOL. I'm going to do the inner next so I can get this in standard form. Then the outer. And then f of x equals. Now what this really should say up here, this is for added, knowledge extension for those that are, the high flyers that actually did okay on the quiz and did well. This should say with a leading coefficient of 1. They really should put that condition up there. So I want a polynomial that has these zeros with a leading coefficient of 1. That's the answer then. 1x cubed, 1. But what if they said I want a leading coefficient of, just pick any number, negative 12. I don't know, I just randomly picked a number. I want a leading coefficient of negative 12. Well, for the high flyers, those that would, really get this, you do all these same steps. Then at the end, you just put this in parentheses and put a negative 12 on the outside. And then distribute it if you wanted. So that polynomial, negative 12x cubed plus 48x squared, blah, 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 would still have these zeros, except it would just change the graph and stretch it out and blah, 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 blah. So that's how that would happen, and I feel like I should mention that. We'll stick with this one with the leading coefficient of 1, and then move on. And then this is the other thing. Oh, I'm going to move away from the screen. Actually I can't show it in the video because then people can look at the key. This reminds me of this, and this is where I lament, and I did grade this by hand. I didn't do a master manager sheet because I wanted to see names and see what we were doing on this multiple choice. And I was despondent. Yes, that's a big word. How many people missed these 4? Oh, these 4 should take like a second, because isn't this a positive x to the third how it ends, right? And then isn't this a negative x to the third how it ends, right? X to the 4th, negative x to the 4th. Then positive x to the 5th, negative x to the 5th, x to the 6th, negative x to the 6th, and so on and so on and so forth. There's only one possible answer in these 4 that mirrors that idea of how this ends. So there's nothing I can do when I get people that miss 4 out of 5 of these. It's just really tough, and I thought I put those in there for added possibilities of getting points so that those would be easy. That didn't happen. This last one's a little tough, but I don't want to mention anything about it as I have someone. There was 2 possible choices here on the last one, and you just had to do a little extra to think about which one's the right one. So yeah, that's what I'm like looking at this. Here's a 0 at 1, and here's a 0 at negative 2, and this one has multiplicity 3. By the way, multiplicity 3 and multiplicity 1, very hard for me to say, gives me a degree 4 situation. So it's good. This is how it would end. So this would what the graph would look like, and then this would be flattened out here and then go from there. And there was a question on the back of the written that made you graph the appropriate graph according to what the zeros were. So, and that one wasn't too good. I expected a little bit better. I thought almost everybody would get that one right. But anyway, just talking about some things that are probably going to be on the next test, these similar questions. Go ahead. It goes like a cubic through there. You know how a cubic looks? You know how a cubic flattens out like that? No, it just goes straight through, like a linear, like just, no character whatsoever. Then multiplicity 2's bounce, that little, giving answers here. Yeah, go ahead. Multiplicity 5 would be like this. Yeah. Yeah, just 1 doesn't have any curvature to it. It goes through like a line. Think of it as linear. You know how a line looks? And then this goes through like a cubic. That's how a cubic looks with that flattening. Okay? Would be the best way to think about it. Ooh, that got messy there. All right, but then let's actually answer the question. This had nothing to do with what I'm doing right here. All right? I just wanted to talk about that as like maybe some things we need to brush up on. No, you don't cube and cube. You don't cube the x and cube the 2. That's not x cubed plus 8. It is x plus 2 3 times. Now, when you look at the end of this, you probably, oh, that's a lot of work. It really isn't. It really is not a hard question. Because they are asking to multiply this out. So this is what I think you should do. This, and then go ahead and multiply these 2, and then multiply those 2 answers. So good FOILers, x squared. And then we should be able to do this. 2x and 2x is 4x. 2 times 2 is 4. By the way, I lamented about the testing and lamented about like not getting a lot of people to come in for help. By the way, that's over. Next week we go to 203. I know I'm supposed to be available at 203 to 3. I don't know how that works when you're walking to your car and then going home. I doubt anyone's really even home by 3. But there is something called Kitchen Table, which is another teacher, but it would be online again, like I had available from 2 to 3. And call the school and how that's available. I'm not really sure how that goes about. Like you just got to get like the link from somewhere. Negative 2x, I'm sorry, negative 1x and positive 2x is 1x minus 2. I'm just trying to get some oxygen there. Really goes getting a little lightheaded. All right, and then, so that wasn't hard. And this is not hard, it just takes some time. X squared times x squared, x to the fourth. There's going to be 9 multiplications. Yeah, I'm going right through all that other stuff. I'm just trying to show the lines for multiplying. The negative 2x squared. And then I'm doing this more and more. I like this. When I take 4x and distribute it to x squared, I'm writing it right underneath the cube to keep myself organized. Are you writing any notes, sir? Did you just lie to me? Okay, good. Oh, you didn't write all of it. All right, got it. All right, and then the last one, I don't know, I'm trying to find colors. I can't even see these colors anymore. 4x squared, gotta roll this down here. It's not hard, just takes some time. 4x, and I'm going slow. Like this organization thing. Then again, we're just gonna say leading coefficient of 1, we got it. 5x cubed. 4 and negative 2 is 6x squared minus 4x minus 8. So real big problems on that foiling. So that's why I figured I'd take a moment to do this one more time. All right, I'm done with the video. Now we're going to go to our game thing that I said we were going to do. Stop sharing. Oops.